self-seeking, arrogance, and cockiness. An example, 10, 15, 12, 8 years ago sometime, so it couldn't have been more than 12 years ago. Sometime in my tenure at Bharti Airtel, and I was setting up this telecom enterprise, we were going hiring. I went to, I was to go to IIM Calcutta. I was very keen to go back there. Except I got a call the night before I was supposed to leave, and this is what the placement coordinator had to say. And his words, cockily, were, Mr. Mal, I suggest you cancel your ticket, you're not going to make it. Yeah, you're not going to make it. Meaning thereby, why are you wasting your time? It's a big gap. And it burned a hole in my head. I promised that day never to go back to the IIMs again. And all my future hirings were, keep these guys away. They're just too cocky. But I'm not talking about IIMs as IIMs. I'm talking about the community, because number 1 and number 10 are not very different from each other as far as cockiness is concerned. That makes me mad. What makes me mad is what I referred to you a little while ago. Let me say it in Hindi. Surat or Sirat ka jo fark hai, that makes me mad. Because dikhne mein to bahut acha hai. The packaging is right, the tie is correct, the jacket is perfect, the language is brilliant. Put that guy down to work, it's a fiasco. Sirat is about, as a product should be, 80-90% is what the product does, and 10% is the packaging and its advertising. That's the route to value, and that makes me mad. Because there's such a lot of hype that is created as you come in and as you settle down. Frankly, I have to say this to you. Given my automobile and other background, I often think of MBAs as, you guys familiar with what a casting is? So an engine casting or a transmission casting? Great raw material, right down to the last molecule. Great blend of metals, but a rough cut. So I can't take that and fit it into an automobile. I've got to shape it, I've got to form it. And the casting believes that it needs to go straight into a Ferrari. It's about not happening. That makes me mad. I spoke what makes me mad a little while ago, called the spirit of entitlement. This is often heard. Why did you join Airtel? Or why did you join Maruti? Or why did you join Escorts? I just want to know, why do you want to join? It's a great place to learn. Regrettably, they're going to put Airtels and Marutis out of, in the hot seat of being education providers, while the IIMs and the other institutes do about nothing. Why am I required to provide for your education as running a corporation? I hired you to come in and create value, not you didn't do me a favor to be brought in and then be educated. Why? I want to hear, I've come here. In the process of learning, I will give you value, and therefore I will deserve value. And this sense of desiring without deserving actually makes me mad. It makes me very mad. It's almost as if, yaar, entitlement hai, to you owe me this. It's not happening. What also makes me mad is the extent to which there is an industry connect, or lack of industry connect. It is almost as if this is in a bubble, it's in a vacuum. It's going to exist by itself. What makes me mad, very seriously, is, and with apologies for all those of you headed to the Accentures and the McKinseys, and I saw many hands going up, this makes me mad. So, this is what I have. You got this McKinsey guy walking in, this hotshot, accompanied by 24-year-old hotshots. Yeah? If you touch his ear from behind, your finger will be wet. That's how fresh he is. He's got the right suit, he's got the right tie, he's got the right TLAs. And this guy wants to tell me what to do with my company. Yeah? And what entitles him to do that? I strongly believe that there is a case for consulting. Consulting is nothing more than intellectual outsourcing. But for God's sake, have you spent time on the ground? Have you spent time in industry? Have you spent time with problems? Have you been an executive ever before in your life to be able to consult executives? It's as ridiculous as it can get. So for those of you who are headed for the BCGs and the Accentures, I hope you and I do meet, except only socially, please. And you stick me that beer. And the reason is, to me, one of the underlying reasons for this phenomenon. There are a lot of people who headed into MBAs because they were of an academic orientation. Remember in the beginning of my talk, I spoke about why are you here? Now the academic kind of orientation only allows you post an MBA to head for this direction. So therefore, you can continue being a professor in your mind and being in industry in the business of consulting, except it's not going to work. So my strong advice for those of you headed for consulting, you go ahead and do what you will, is to spend, and please do it, if that is what you believe is your calling, please do it. But while you're at it, just get some real ground experience. Because you need credibility to be able to talk to practitioners. I don't want somebody walking in and advising me what to do. He comes from a planet that I don't know, and he's coming to a planet that he's not aware of, except he's got all the raw material. In this age of technology and connectivity, you got all the raw material from Google that you can find. So all the old McKinsey's and all the old Accenture books and everything is available to you. So pull out a piece from here and a piece from here and a piece of here and present it as real thought. Thought, fine, but I need to convert that thought into rupees. So that's what makes me mad, and that's about all the stuff that makes me mad. Everything else I'm glad about. Okay, now let me leave a few tips with you, and let me get out of the way. Am I still okay for time? So I'm now under performance pressure because I have to fill time. Okay. The first tip that I want to leave, and I hope, and scanning through your brochure and the courses, I noticed one thing. Maybe there is, but I can't find it. Maybe there isn't an opportunity to look inwards, to figure out even now as to who you are individually, what your personal aspirations are. Because if your personal aspirations and those of your career and those of the world don't meet, there's going to be chaos. So is there time for reflection? Is there a structured way to reflect? Is there a structured way to figure out who one is before one heads for this? In January, I attended my last meeting of the advisory board, the Senate of the University of Rochester. And one of the main things on the agenda was an agenda item which I understood to mean product recall. And that meant this: by peer pressure, by aspiration, or by money, or the fact that the Simon Business School Rochester is known for finance MBAs, a lot of them head for Wall Street. Product recall or product rejection is Wall Street is coming back and saying, "Ye to fit hi nahi aate." So why did you go to Wall Street? And they're grappling with the thought that if you knew who you were, you would have headed for another business. You could have been headed for toothpaste or cinema or FMCG, but you wouldn't go to Wall Street. And likewise, it's happening. So these institutes are facing, in times of recession where people are being laid off, the comment that's coming back is, hey, this product doesn't fit. And it doesn't fit not because what the institute had to give, it's because the guy doesn't know where to go. So that's my first tip, if you like. The second is lifelong learning. It's almost as if a lot of us believed at some point in time, I certainly did, that I've got my degrees now, it's all cushy. You suddenly find that you need to build yourself up. So a constant eye to do what you do, and my tip that I want to leave behind is re-energize and refurbish yourself. More so in the domain of soft skills. Because when you come into a large organization, I don't need so much of marketing to be delivered. I don't need so much of analysis. I need you to work in teams. I need you to collaborate. I need you to be a team player. And from the age of 3 to the age of 23 or 25 that this group is at, you have always, till you came here, I hope, you have always been rewarded for individual performance. You have never been awarded for group performance. And that is coded now into the DNA of the human being. So you get into industry and you're still playing tennis, I need football players. So are you going to practice football while you're at the institute? The answer should be yes. Is your faculty going to help you do that? I hope so. Because I need football players, I don't need tennis players. And for tennis players, there are other organizations, not like the ones I've worked for. Those are places where you're rewarded for individual performance. The third tip that I'd like to leave, and I was delighted to see in your brochure, is some aspects of innovation and creativity. I hope that that part of the syllabus becomes much, much, much larger, like 10x. Because you're not going to be paid by industry for being in the rut. You're going to be paid for changing the rut. And that means thinking outside the rut. And that's not going to happen until it's decoded and then recoded, that everything needs to be looked at from the point of reinvention while maintaining continuity. So it's a tough one, yin and yang or whatever, man and woman, but that needs to be done. And the last point that I want to leave for you, which I've mentioned, and I shall do that ad nauseum, is please do reflect what is value creation, because you can only be given a slice of what you create, and therefore, by consequence, deserve. A few comments for the faculty. Hey, hang on, I'm just thinking. You guys are waiting for some explosive stuff to... It's not happening. So I'm just articulating, I'm just thinking. The point I'm making is, look guys, and this is for the faculty, you've already been given an advantage. When you get people with a 1:211 filtration ratio, you got the brightest of the brightest. And that gives rise or pause to two thoughts. Number one, and both are challenges to faculty. The number one challenge is, what did you actually do to add value? I didn't mean teaching. I mean, what did you do to add value? Because the logical way to analyze it is, if you didn't do anything, would these guys still be as good at the end of 2 years? Right? Back in the IIT, we'd often wonder, you know, ये सारे ना होते तब भी तो हम हजारों में एक थे. Right? So what can you do? So you please add to the हजारों में एक, right? So, and that's the first challenge. The second challenge is, it's not any old clay, it's not any old putty. This is a very special putty, 1:211 putty. 211 number की putty है. This requires different molding. It's an exercise in humility, if you like. And therefore, the challenge to any faculty member would have to be actually to raise the bar for himself or herself. My last comment on the faculty side would be interaction with industry. And I have a few thoughts again from your brochure. Your brochure gave me a lot. It's very good for speakers who come without any preparation. It gives them everything. The projects that you have with industry, recruiting partners. Hey, I did see it. Corporate collaborations. And there are many, but not many enough. A, B, they're again at that rarefied end of the economic pyramid. And maybe you might want to think about diversifying your collaborations with industry. Pick up those levers of the Indian economy that are about to burst. They are in the domain of agriculture, health, and other services. Telecom is over. Telecom-based services is the new history that is about to be created. right? So where is industry going, and which are the dead elements of industry? And if our collaborations are out of sync, or they are in sync with the yesterday, you may have cause to worry. I think I've just about come to the end of my comments. But before I leave, I did pull out something that I want to share with you as a sign-off. And this is from a heroine. She used to be my heroine. I had forgotten about her for a long time, but I just pulled her back again today. Do you guys read Ayn Rand? Not many do. Okay, so a life-changing set of books, and I was completely besotted by her thinking. So I pulled this up just after lunch today, just before getting here. And here is a quote that I want to leave with you. She says, and I subscribe to this. She says, "Do not let your fire go out. Spark by irreplaceable spark. In the hopeless swaps of the not, N-O-T, of the not quite, the not yet, and not at all.